Hello, 8th grade. Today we're going to talk about growth and expansion in the USA. Alright. As you guys know, after handing Britain its second L in the War of 1812, the US went through an era of good feelings, where there was political peace.
The United States is ready to embrace peace with all who seek it.
And they had no wars going on, and expansion was really good. So people were moving out west and going into the territories that the U.S. had purchased in Louisiana, and more states were becoming part of the Union. In the colonial period, most people were farmers, and so if they wanted to eat, they had to grow it. If they wanted clothes or furniture or tools, they had to make it themselves. But in the mid-1700s, inventors in Britain began making large machines that would run off of water power. And so these were called mills or factories. And they would use the water wheel to run these great machines, and they would do spinning and weaving, and they would create all of the products there in the factory. So no longer were people having to make things from their own home. People were actually going into work, clocking in, and earning a wage. So this was really unique during this time, and it's called the Industrial Revolution.
The Industrial Revolution represents the time when home production of goods began to be transferred to factories powered by steam and electricity, fueled by coal and oil, producing things in mass quantities and transporting things faster over longer distances. Through the ingenuity of men and women, their creativity, the expanding of their minds, the Industrial Revolution showed that they could take the resources that this earth had to offer and provide for the necessities of people around the world.
It would change the way we do work from here on out. The Industrial Revolution came to the United States in around 1800s and started in the New England states. The reason being, there's three reasons. Number one, the soil up there is not so great for large farms, and so industry would be better for them. Number two, there was a lot of water and waterfalls, and so they were able to use the water to run the mills and the factories. And number three, there's a lot of ports that they would be able to get raw materials from Europe and also ship out produced or manufactured materials back to Europe. And so it was just the New England states were better suited for industry to happen. At the heart of the Industrial Revolution is the technology. Inventors were making big machines that were able to speed up manufacturing. So there was the water frame and the spinning jenny and the power loom. They were able to mass produce lots of clothes and textiles and other types of things that people needed. Another invention that really helped the U.S. economy, especially in the South, was Eli Whitney's cotton gin.
Thank Eli Whitney for inventing the cotton gin in 1794. The cotton gin increased the speed of separating the cotton seeds from the fiber, which was normally done by hand using a spinning wheel. This was specifically helpful in the southern states, where hand-picked raw cotton had to be sent way up north, where it was then processed and weaved into cloth. The cotton gin made possible the removing of cottonseed much faster and processed more cotton in a day than the months it would take to do the job by hand. This led to the growth of the textile industry throughout the New England states. The cotton gin invention also helped Eli Whitney come up with the idea to use interchangeable parts, standard parts which would be used on different types of machines and lower the cost and improve efficiency in manufacturing. The first interchangeable part Whitney produced was used for firearms used by soldiers in that era.
So with the rise of factories and inventors making more and more machines for these factories, people began to steal the ideas of others. And so Congress passed laws for patents, which protects the rights of the inventor and his idea, his or her idea. And so that way, if somebody were to steal that idea, they would have to pay a fine. Francis Cabot Lowell created the Lowell factory system, and this really helped to speed up the process of making textiles. The capitalistic economic system of the United States really allowed industry to grow. Capitalism is where individuals or businesses own the property and decide where the profits go to. The people, not the government, control the capital or money, so where the proceeds should go to. Should it go to extra buildings? Should it go to raises for the people? Should it go into the pockets of the owners? Well, that would be up to the business people to decide. The term that's often used is free enterprise. That's where people are free to work when they want to work or do what they want to do, if they want to own a business or not own a business, or work for a corporation or not work for a corporation. The choice is theirs. This is the land of the free. Free enterprise works on the ideas of profit and private property and competition. And so companies can compete with each other for business, for the people to buy their products. So if one person comes up with one idea or one product, then another person can come and compete with them and create a better product or offer more things. That's why we have, the value menus at restaurants. Burger's not that great, but it is cheap,
Tremendous numbers are coming in. Everybody wants to be in the USA, we're the hot place, we're the hottest economy by far anywhere in the world.
Because people got to eat, man, and the United States has a lot of natural resources in which farming can happen anywhere, especially in the South. And so gigantic lots of land called plantations were growing cash crops such as cotton, wheat, hemp. As more and more explorers and pioneers began moving out west, they were reporting back how really great this place is. And so as the population continued to grow in the East Coast, more and more people just kept moving out west and exploring and populating all of the territory that is the United States. People were building roads and turnpikes, which are like toll roads that people privately own them and you pay to use them, and it offers you safe travel to where you're going. With the invention of Robert Fulton's steamboat, this made transporting people and goods a whole lot more efficient and faster using the river systems. And so because of the steamboat and the ease of travel, you started to see large cities populate along these big river systems like Mississippi and Missouri River. Canals and locks were being built to help transport goods and people across the state.
Governor DeWitt Clinton of New York. His dream changed America's destiny, for he was the father of the Erie Canal, the golden gateway to the West, more than a century ago. Opened in 1825, the Erie Canal was the first empire builder in our history. It was the only water highway through the long Appalachian mountain chain. Supplying a route for the settlers to go west, it gave them a means for shipping their goods back east. Overnight, the canal opened the east to the west and the west to the east. In New York State, towns sprang up all along the 500-mile route. Buffalo and Albany, the terminal cities, grew rapidly, and New York City became the greatest port city in the United States and eventually the world.
People tended to settle near rivers because there was an abundance of water. You had a lot of travel, and so whatever you made or grew, you can transport those goods or crops or whatever using the water system. And so it was a lot more efficient and easy to get your places to sell, the raw materials to sell, or to get raw materials to make in your factory or whatever that might be. So it is always more efficient and safer to travel across the water than it would be across land. And so many people settled near these river systems.